Hey everyone, it's Jennifer Ettinger, CTV PR's social media correspondent, and I'm coming to you from Facebook, Canada, with the one and only Ms. Jann Arden. Jann, welcome.
Jennifer, we've been on this journey for a while.
Yes.
We've been on this journey for a while.
It's been 6 months, Jann.
It's hard to believe how quickly the time has gone by.
It has flown
We
by.
were talking just before we went to air, we were talking about sitting on that long table in that sort of cabin thing where we were shooting.
That's right.
And that was our first press conference, and we were kind of probably on day 8 or 9, and that's when you and I first met.
That's right, when I met you, and it was Snowtober. It was the huge snowstorm.
We got, I think, 45 centimeters, I'm not exaggerating, of snow. And they had to dig the trucks out, they had to dig the trailers out. There was a lot of complications with continuity with the shooting because the day before it looked like spring, and the following day it was snowmageddon. It really was. So, you know, but everyone persevered.
Everyone did persevere, and what I loved about that was I was embarking on the plane and I'm reading how you needed all this emergency help for the snow, and I'm like, what am I getting myself into?
And people were still coming in to do the press conference.
They were still coming in excited. We just wore extra layers.
Yep.
And what I thought was so interesting was, as cold as it was outside, Jann, was as hot as it was with warmth and compassion inside with you and the crew.
It's good people.
They are good people, and I want to share. They were physically hailing you. And that was so beautiful to see, like the tightness and the closeness of your
Well, they were
group.
afraid of being fired.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, you pretend to like me or we're going to be in trouble here. You know, I got very lucky with the casting. We were all lucky. Leah and Jenica and I are my two main showrunners, writers. You know, there was people that we had in mind, but you do go through that process of auditioning. But for the most part, it was everyone that we had earmarked. CTV was very supportive. They brought a couple of wonderful people to the table and some ideas that they had, and it's a group effort, you know, it's give and take. The cast I couldn't be prouder of, and they're just so pro. Like, I don't have a lot of acting experience.
But you deliver.
Well, it's not a stretch for me to be kind of a version of me.
Right.
But I had lots of support. We ran the scenes a lot. We all worked together. I had an acting coach and a line runner. His name was Tom Carey. He was invaluable to me. He was yelling lines underneath the toilet stall. Okay, let's run this next scene again. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And you're in there peeing. But we made it through. I couldn't have done it without him. It was my biggest fear, was committing 10, 11, 12 pages of dialogue to memory every day, because I didn't want to hold up the production.
That's right. That's right. And I feel personally, having watched the show, and think it's so hilarious, that synergy between your cast and crew really translates into the show. I feel like I'm eavesdropping on conversations. I don't feel that anything's being delivered to me.
Good.
Is that the intent?
Yeah, I'm glad. It's meant to be very conversational. It's funny, I've had a couple of interesting comments. People are like, is this a reality show? Feels reality. I'm like, nope. And that is a credit to the director of photography, and it's a credit to the writers. It's so conversational, although it's scripted comedy, that it's really grounded and kind of rough around the edges, and everyone's imperfect, and it's not click, click, boom jokes. Click, click, boom. Leah Gautier, the woman that developed the show with me at the very beginning, she's worked for me over the last 15 years as a production assistant on my tours. So Leah, better than anybody, knew my gait. She knew the tone of my shows, which are very conversational and funny. And then I would sing, this heartfelt, morose, depressing song. And that was the tone we wanted to bring to the other side of the fence with the sitcom. And I give her and Jenica so much credit, Neelu Handy, Mike McFadden, the people that wrote this piece of art, and to really bring my character to life and give me the vehicle to do that.
And it shows that intimacy, for sure, that you have a long relationship with them, because again, it's so naturally delivered.
I'm so glad. That's
it
so
really
great.
shows.
Yay!
You've got this close-knit tribe that has done some incredible work. And you also were quoted saying that everyone will find a little piece of themselves within the Jann show. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think so too. You know, we have some really interesting characters. I mean, our mother figure, Nora, who's played by Deborah Grover, she is just walking down the road of dementia. So my sister and I, Zoe Palmer, who plays Max, my sister, you know, we're at the front of that journey. We're both scared. She's been looking after our mother for a long time. I want really nothing to do with it because I just don't get it, right? But you know, there's 1 million families in Canada going through that. So when you talk about representation, yeah, it's not a very pleasant topic, but I also learned there was a lot of humor in dementia. I had to laugh. My mom was getting sicker and sicker as we went down the road, but there was lots of funny things. There was lots of tender, quirky things that will resonate with me for the rest of my life. So, you know, you talk about 1 million people with Alzheimer's, dementia. Well, they probably have 4, 5, 10, 15 family members so now, all of a sudden you have 20 million people that are affected by dementia.
Right.
So they'll see that story. My character is a fluid character. I have girlfriends, I have boyfriends. There's no light shone on it. There's no come to Jesus moment where it's this epiphany of, oh my God, you know, you're this, you're that. There's no labeling. There's no hype. There's no kind of, what would you call it? Like journalistic, you know, porn.
Right.
Where it's all sensationalism that has nothing to do with our story. It's as normal can be. That's important. Kids in northern towns, kids that are looking to find themselves somewhere within a story. And I want them to see a normal person making her way through her life.
And you've delivered.
I hope so.
You absolutely have delivered. And you talked about your mom, and
Yeah.
I am sorry for your loss. My
Thank you.
condolences. I know she passed in December.
Almost 3 months now.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah.
And I read your book yesterday, and I laughed, and I cried.
Good.
I felt like I was on this Jann roller coaster with you, but there are beautiful moments in the book. And I wondered, when I watched you in Calgary, when you were inside filming, no, you were in the garage filming a scene, and we were outdoors, and it was a very emotional scene with your mother.
I remember it.
And you delivered upon delivered, and to your point before, you just used words where you had to do a scene over many, many times.
Oh yeah, there's different angles, there's close-ups, there's side shots, there's the two people, there's each, yeah, it's a lot. So you're doing it over and over.
You're doing it over again. I'm sitting there going, this is so heavy that all of us changed our energy within the media group, because we were just like, this is powerful and this is a moment. And I kept thinking of you going, she has to deliver this over and over and over again. And then when she leaves here, she's going home to deal with it on the real end of
Right.
things. And I just thought about the strength that you must have within you, maybe more than you even realized, to get through that.
There's a couple of things. It's twofold. For one thing, my mom's illness, thank you, Mom, you made me actually seem like I could act. Because all I needed to do was think about her, and it made me cry. So that was a real positive thing that came out of that, because I didn't know what a person would have drawn from had they not had a mother with Alzheimer's. Deborah Grover is such a consummate pro. The way she looked at me, the way she stayed calm and stayed within herself, and we had lots of conversations about it. We ran the scene, you know, quite a few times on our own. But yeah, it's really sad, but that's what made the funny stuff even more funny, is that when you push up that pathos and that heartbreak, I just don't think comedy works well on its own. It becomes, just from my experience, it becomes too like a carnival, like a wind-up box.
Right.
And my type of comedy is very subtle and quirky, and it really is a dark kind of comedy. So, you know, we salvaged that scene and kind of came out of it, but I learned a lot, and I'm learning about acting and learning about being vulnerable. And I listen to the director. I listen to the instruction that I'm given.
And again, you delivered because the press are loving you. The show has been available online.
Yeah,
and you're
the first
getting
episode.
The
has
first
been,
episode,
yeah.
and the press are hailing you, Jann. Congratulations, and so is the general
What
public.
is
It's like
going
this
on?
hybrid are coming together for the love of Jann.
Well, this is all we could have hoped for. But you know, like I said earlier, there's 150 people working on the show. The machinery with the Bell Media Group is so impressive. It's so big. They know what they're doing. They know how to market things. Yeah, they need something to market, but you know, they do it better than anybody. There hasn't been a domestic comedy there for quite some time. So, you know, there's a lot of eggs in a pretty big basket right now that we're all, you know, crossing our fingers and hoping that it resonates with people. You know, so far it looks good, and that makes me happy. I think it's Canadian without hitting it over the head. This story, I think, could drop in New Zealand. I think it could drop in the UK or, you know, in Germany,
Sure.
and I think they would still understand very clearly the premise of somebody looking for relevance and somebody dropping the ball and somebody making fun of themselves.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. And that's the success of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Being able to be translatable like that.
Oh, for sure.
Do you have advice for fictional Jann that you would like to give her when you're watching her on the screen?
I have so much advice for her. I would like to send her away to some kind of camp for grown women, especially like in the relationship department. There's more than just you to worry about, Missy. There's other people's feeling involved. You know, I would tell her to really appreciate the people around her and to really appreciate her mother while she's still here.
Yes.
You're not going to have her forever, TV Jann. To really appreciate and support her sister. She's pregnant again. And to, you know, offer up babysitting. Not that Max would ever want TV Jann to babysit for her. She's probably like, if I look after her kids, it's a last resort.
Right.
You saw that in
Yes,
episode 2.
I did. It's very funny.
So they're both reluctant. It's like, God, do we leave them with her? So that's, and I'm still oblivious. I have no idea. It's such an inconvenience to me.
Do you think that fictional Jann just is living through so much fear?
Yep.
And that's why she can't see outside of her bubble?
She's so afraid of being forgotten. She's afraid. She's put everything into the public acceptance of her and her music career and, you know, the elusive idea of fame. I don't care myself personally about any of that stuff. It just doesn't bother me. So that was fun to play. I'm thinking, you know, what's it like to be somebody who really, really loves the spotlight? It couldn't be more counterintuitive to how I live my life, which is as far away from that as I can manage.
And we talked about that because I asked you how you stay so grounded with everything that was going on.
I live in the country. I'm not around people a lot.
Jann,
So this,
in the last 6 months, you were
well,
on
but
the
I
launch,
was.
you were
We
traveling.
shot this entire thing in 19 days.
Yes,
And then all the footage and everything went away to more professionals who did the editing and the color correcting. And you know, I spent 2 or 3 days that I went in and I did something called looping, which is if there was sound issues with my microphones when I did scenes. So you go back and you match, you overdub yourself.
Oh,
Basically.
wow.
So I did 3 or 4 days of that, of little things that were missing or had noise on them. And that was my first opportunity to see some of the scenes. And I was just like, oh my God.
And the wardrobe, I can't wait for people to see your wardrobe.
I don't know
So
about
good.
my wardrobe. But yeah, it's somebody who doesn't really go to a lot of trouble when they're home by themselves. Like my hair is in a ponytail, I have no makeup on, no bra half the time, and you know, some old shorts and rubber boots. It's very attractive.
Oh, I think you look great. It's Jann. It's Jann. And you look fabulous today. Kudos
Thank
to
you.
your
I have a
stylist.
team of experts fixing me up today.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's talk about social media.
Sure.
I think it's serendipitous that we're actually at Facebook because
Yeah.
you mentioned Facebook in your book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that's a beautiful moment that we're coming together and that you read the comments, you laugh and you do cry.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the beautiful quote from your book that stood with me. In fact, I shared it here at Facebook before you arrived. And it's a summation
Yeah.
that I'm sharing. But you shared that we should be more gentle on social media and that words should not be weapons
Yeah.
but they should become doves.
Yeah.
And when I asked you about being grounded, you talked to me before about your parents being that anchor. And I feel that the way you portray yourself on social media is the real deal, Jann.
Yeah, I get myself into trouble a fair amount. This whole book came from Facebook. It really did. Not even in a roundabout way, in a very direct way. The first time I wrote about my parents both had dementia, and I wrote in 2014 a blog. I didn't do a lot of blogging, like, maybe once every 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But this one particular day I was bereaved about these two people that were so mixed up, and it was an inconvenience for me. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew that there was trouble. And I wrote about it, and I wrote about how scared I was, and my manager had phoned me the next day, and he said, "You've had like 1 million impressions." I didn't even know what an impression was, but basically, that's a lot of numbers that went out to a lot of people, and we had 6,000 or 7,000 comments. I can't read all of them, but I do try and read, a good chunk of things. But I'd be sitting in front of my computer for months at a time, so it's impossible. But anyway, that was the catalyst. I started writing on a regular basis, and people followed along, and it became a forum for them to talk to each other. I didn't realize how many people were going through it. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And, fast forward 2017, the book came out, and it was an instant success, and it's because of people on social media that wanted all those blogs gathered into something tactile, something they could hold on to. The book you're holding now has another year of blogs on it. It's a little different format, but I also write about my mom passing away at the end of the book.
And when does this one come out?
This one, officially, it's in some bookstores now, but I think April the 2nd it comes out.
Okay. So
and I believe I'm doing a book signing April the 2nd in the Toronto area. So watch for that. We will certainly announce it on Facebook, of course, and on my social formats.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to you about the social because, again, you see what you see. There's such a ripple effect that with myself shadowing you for the last 6 months, I'm now the 6 degrees of separation, Jann Arden. I'm getting so many stories sent to myself personally about you and with the impact you've had on so many lives. I've had recently that you were someone's grad song, so going back into the music part of Jann. Jann's my grad song, like I'll never forget Jann ever.
A grad song.
Your grad
Our
song.
grad song was, do you know where you're going to?
Oh, wow.
Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to? That was our grad song, and I'm thinking, what a weird grad song.
And it's amazing you remember.
Diana Ross.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Then I had a story come to me, to your point of your mom, of someone that was going through the same journey as you with their mother.
So many.
And she shared with me that your posts became her anchor and that no one could really understand. People are empathetic and we try, we don't know what to say, but you understood. And she wanted me to share with you that thank you because you helped navigate that journey.
They helped me too. So everyone that told me a story about what they were going through, grief shared lessens it. Sadness shared. I don't care who you are, what kind of job you have, what country you live in. There are some real standardized emotions within human beings that defy culture, that defy language, that defy gender. They are happiness, sadness, fear, love, hatred. Those things are, without any exception, the same in all of us. And when we connect on those really basic levels, Alzheimer's is very fear-based. There's a lot of love there, but initially it's a lot of fear. The load is lessened. I felt like I could breathe again when I read people's comments. I felt like I could make it through when people shared their doom with me. There's something about, you can be in the worst crap in your life. You can be so down and out, like within my mother's grief. And when you help somebody else, even when you're in that place, if you can bring yourself up to help somebody else, it lessens it. it distributes somehow. It's like magic. I think it's like science fiction. It's not something you should hide away and do by yourself. Helping other people is the way out of depression. It's the way out of anxiety. Like, you're always looking to be helped, but when you help other people, it changes your DNA. I can't even explain it.
And you're proof of this in so many different ways. And even today on Instagram, there was a comment, and I don't know if you saw this, from a journalist who said, I was working a red carpet. It was a tough carpet. I know the carpet. It was a tough carpet. And people don't realize it can be really hard on
I can't
the
even
other
fathom.
end.
Yes.
You came up. You shifted this gentleman's entire energy. You shifted his entire experience, and he said, I will never forget.
What happened?
It was just tough. It wasn't flowing for him in terms of interviews. And then you came up and you changed everything with your kindness. And he actually posted about that on Instagram today and thanked you he posted his media kit and he posted saying thank you because of your kindness. You shifted everything. And he had the most amazing interview with you.
I'm really glad. It's amazing. And I think it's because I've gotten older. I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation at 37, probably not at 47. I'll be 57 in a week, and
happy early birthday.
Thank you, but I feel like a complete human being, probably for the first time in my life. And what I mean by that is to have empathy, to look at other people's lives. I mean, I'm far from perfect. I screw up all the time, and I let people down. I'm not without, my own problems, but I can look at myself and stop in a mirror, even getting out of the shower in the morning and think, that body has carried you, this version of you, I'm much easier on myself. And I really am excited about, meeting new people and doing new things. And I feel like I'm stepping into my power. I've been saying for the last 2 months, if you're not beside me, get out of my way. Because we have to be beside each other, arms linked, and going forward. This show might have my name on it, but it is hundreds of people that are so talented. I mean, people doing the signs and the graphics and the outfits and every hair on my head and handing me words and handing me clothes. And
it feels like a family affair.
It really is. And I'm sure that can be said for every production out there. People in television work incredibly hard. And it makes touring look like a walk in the park. I used to complain, oh my God, I gotta go on the bus, I gotta travel, I gotta sing for 2.5 hours at night. Now I'm looking at like the last 30 years of my life going, you had it easy, you idiot.
And now look at you, you're growing, Jan,
I'm complaining on the bus and pass me the Doritos.
Thanks to social, I've learned what you do not do on a bus. I've learned so much from you about what to do and not do on a tour bus.
There is bus etiquette, Back in the day, our bus rides were a lot different than they are now. Everyone hops into their bunks with their coconut water and their bag of nuts, and before it was just like the disco lights were going off. We were, having sex with chairs. I don't even know what that means. But, things have changed. Everyone's got families now. Everyone's freaking vegan. Nobody drinks anymore.
It's a whole new ballgame.
They're doing cannabis gummy bears. What the hell's going on out there?
Let's talk about gratitude, because you talked about that today in your social post. You talk about gratitude in your book. Very important, but an overused word.
Yeah, it is overused.
You practice gratitude every morning.
Yep.
Tell me about your world in gratitude, because I feel there's so much gratitude in your cast and crew, which is making this so special.
But like any business that you run, don't you think it starts with the people that kind of are at the top of the food chain?
Yes.
Because that sets a tone. When you have somebody that's contentious and not respectful and doesn't speak to people well and has these, really harsh conversations in front of other people, just to show their power, it sets the whole place ablaze.
It does.
I don't live like that. I've been on the other side of that fence enough times to know that you just have to be nice to people. It goes so much further. It takes a lot of energy to be a shitty person.
It takes the same amount of energy.
It takes an enormous amount of energy to be, your shoulders are scrunched up and to be, contentious all the time. I'm You know, gratitude is a verb. It is something that requires your actions. You can't just, you know, flip open a journal and here's my gratitude journal. I'm grateful for butterflies. I'm grateful for, you know, there's kind of this saccharine thing that surrounds the word gratitude. Gratitude is appreciating like a moment. Alzheimer's taught me that. I don't think I was a particularly grateful person. I think I took a lot of things for granted. When my mom and dad both got sick, I realized the importance of time. I realized how important it was to be in a moment with my folks, that there was no future and there was no past. There was only 10 seconds at a time, and they would live those 10 seconds and they were gone. We're rebooting already.
Right.
The cycle was so quick, Jennifer.
Wow.
You know, my mom would ask me a question and 10 seconds later ask me the question. So time took on a whole different thing for me. Gratitude for me is being good to myself, being kind to myself, treating the people around me with grace because they're struggling too. It's hard being a person. It's super hard being a person. Like no one's exempt. I remember I had a friend, she was so beautiful. I haven't seen her for years, but I just would look at her like, oh my God, I think you're one of the most beautiful humans I've ever seen. She hated herself. I would catch her lamenting over a pair of pants and unable to get herself together to go out to a movie or to a dinner. I was like, is this actually happening right now? And I remember her looking at me saying, and I was quite a lot bigger, I was like 60 pounds heavier. She goes, I wish I could be like you. And I'm looking around the room like, are you talking to me? And I learned a lesson that day. It's not outwardly, anyone that you walk by the street is got so much shit going on.
You're right.
So much stuff to deal with. So take a second, listen to what people are saying to you, and take a moment when you see someone struggling, like even stop somebody, going by someone on the street. It's not always about handing them money, but it's taking 5 seconds to go, you okay?
It's a human connection.
Or like, where are you from? A lot of times they'll answer you. You know, it's
being human.
We have to figure it out, but we're living in times that are, we don't have good leaders.
Right.
We don't have good leaders. Leaders must lead, you know. I think leaders do have to be liked. I think they do have to be respected and liked in order to make changes. It's like the beatings will cease when the morale improves.
Yeah, we are definitely
That's our leadership right
dark
now.
times. But we're grateful for.
Oh, it'll all come around. But I'm just saying that kindness goes a long way.
It's cyclical.
It sure is.
It is. And we so grateful for all of your kindness. And
Oh.
tonight's show is the big house. Can you describe tonight's show in 3 hashtags for me? I don't want to give away too much.
Hashtag barbed wire. Hashtag.
That had to be in there.
Yeah. Hashtag backstage pass. And hashtag I'm the decliner.
I love it. Jann, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you,
for
Jennifer.
allowing me to shadow you for the last 6 months. It's been such an honor to be around the cast and crew.
Can I take the restraining order off now, Jennifer?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I'll stop stalking you. And thank you.
Thank you.
We want everyone to tune in tonight, stream, because Jann is premiering on CTV at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we're getting social. So make sure you follow the hashtag Jann on CTV. Thank you.
Do it. Thank you, Jennifer.